back the mic and start doing the interview myself. Now they happen together. Now they happen together.
I try my best.
That was such, I mean, just pause for a moment to say that was such a disaster in Jamaica's history. That was such a sad moment. And I understand it was the first live report you did on such a traumatic incident.
Yes, I can remember somewhat being asked to get up out of my bed and head to the flour mills. I was living in East Kingston at the time, so I was possibly the closest of all the reporters to the scene. And listening back to it, I was as nervous as hell, but I somehow contained the nerves. But it was, you know, you get this adrenaline rush as a reporter. It was my first rush as a reporter to tell the story.
And then you know that the RJR family is listening. Everybody is listening, because when you hear that, I presume would have had the breaking news theme going.
Yes.
So everybody's ears prick up now to hear what has happened.
Exactly. And you knew that you had to deliver. You knew that your bosses were listening, your supervisors, your peers were listening, and you just had to report the story as graphically and as accurately as possible.
Yeah, I did think listening to the beginning of it, I thought I heard a little bit of nerves, but I wasn't sure. What was it?
Yes.
And you're handing over, of course, to Doreen herself,
Yes.
an icon in radio.
Oh, yes. And here was I, a rookie reporter, yes, about a year into the job, or just under a year, less than a year in the job, and I was on RJR reporting live with all these very experienced people like Doreen, you know.
Well,
it was a moment. It was a moment.
Well,
I'll never forget it.
Tell me how you came to be there now. Were you one of the people who all your life wanted to be a reporter, or did you kind of stumble into media?
You know, very early in life I wanted to either pursue law or broadcasting. That much is clear. And I actually applied to do law at UA with my good friend, schoolmate Philip Orwell.
Ah.
Yes. And somehow something went wrong with my application, and I was told that, you know, I was offered a place instead in the Faculty of Arts and General Studies, and I didn't know what to go home and tell my mother.
Oh, no.
And I was just sitting under that tree in front of what was the Faculty of Arts at the time, and overheard some students saying that, boy, they're going to do the Carmack entrance test. And I said, okay, that would be an alternative, because I always spoke about doing law or broadcasting.
Okay, so you didn't go up there with that intention at all?
Absolutely not. So I got up, walked down to Carmack, asked them about the entrance test. They told me it was the following day at some time, I can't remember exactly when. And I remember asking the lady at the front, who turned out to be an administrative assistant, so what do I go home and read to prepare? She said to me, you have been preparing all your life. That was it.
Wow.
And I came back the following day, saw about 150, 160 students, and was told they had place for only 30. So the top 30 I had to get into the top 30, and I did.
Were you confident that you would have?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. You see almost 200 people there, here, 30 they have space.
But I know you have some people that both say and no, so they're not going to get through, you know.
No, I was one of those. I just said, I'm going to give it my best shot, and I did.
So when
and the rest is history.
So when you got in, you were what? You remember the call, or was it a call you got?
No, it was, you had to come back a few days later, and the list would have been posted at Carmack.
Okay.
And, you went there and...
Shaking in your shoes?
Yes, that was my name. Mm-hmm.
So you did Carmack and then you came straight to Radio Jamaica?
Yes.
How you got that job? Because I understand it was one of the places everybody wanted to work. So.
Of course. But at Carmack, I focused on radio. My specialization was radio with a great alma mater and Dionne Forbes. And Jerry McDaniel, who was already at Radio Jamaica, and I became friends, and I told him I really wanted to wet my feet at RGR. And somehow he spoke with Dr. Dean, who was then director of programs, or programs manager. And I got a call from Dr. Dean, and we spoke. And she said, okay, I'm going to offer you a job as trainee announcer to do the graveyard shift. That shift started like about 12 midnight or 11 p.m. I can't recall exactly what time. But it went up until 4 o'clock or 4:30 or 5 when I handed over to Alan Magnus.
The morning.
Which was really in the Good Morning Man. Yes. And that's how I started.
So were you gratified or horrified doing that shift?
I was gratified. I'm a fresh foot out of university with my eyes set on being a broadcaster. I got my feet through the front door at RGR. I was gratified, but I was going to grab that opportunity, and I thought I did.
Okay. Were you worried, though, that, hold on, does this lead somewhere I want to get to? Because it's a music program, you were playing music.
Yeah, I was playing music, but I was seeing it in the long run. That if I, show my ability, I could move. Yeah? I'm one of those who tend to think more long term, medium term. So I thought it was just important to get that job at RJR.
Yes, get your foot in the door.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the first opportunity was in sports. So I know a lot of people, you're the consummate newsman, but in fact, the first job upstairs, so to speak, was in sports.
Yes.
And you grabbed it again.
Exactly. I got a call it would have been either Thursday or Friday afternoon, that Dottie wanted to see me in her office. And I started to worry, what did Dr. Dean want to see me for? Anyway, I presented myself, and Dottie said to me, she has a problem. There is a Cross the Harbour annual swim meet. It no longer happens, but every year, swimmers would try to swim across the Kingston Harbour from one end to the next. And it was broadcast live by RJR Sports. Ed Barnes and a few other people would do it, but Ed had gone on sabbatical, and Dottie said she didn't have anybody to do it, and she gathered I have an interest in sports.
Did you?
I wondered if I would do it. Yes, I did.
Okay.
I love sport.
Okay.
Yeah. And she asked me to do it. I said, as in, describe the race?
Live commentary.
Live commentary. And Dionne, for a moment I blinked and then I said, yes, I will do it. And I did it.
You're never nervous?
Oh, you mean it's me that nervous? Me afraid of sea. Yeah. And I had to go on a boat and describe the entire race. And, I remember she's now the head of the Y.
Sarah Newland Martin.
Sarah Newland Martin was with me, and she was a tower of strength and support. Yeah? It's talking me through the technicalities of the swimmers. But I did it, got favorable reviews, and that's how my career upstairs in sports started.
Nice. You didn't stay in sports, though?
No.
Clearly. Clearly.
After being in sports for just a little under a year, I got a fellowship to study advanced television journalism at Brighton Polytechnic in England in the summer of 87. I think it would have been the summer of 87. And I told Dottie I was going to do it. She said, fine. When you're finished, give me a call. A job is here for you. So I went to England, had a wonderful summer of 87. Yeah, learning a new dimension to what would become my craft. And was ready to come back home, called Dottie. And I noticed Dottie wasn't her usual self with me.
Mm-hmm.
She said to me, boy, Ed has decided to come back home. And there's no place for me in sports. And I was gutted. I came home, went to RGR just to greet my friends and colleagues and to share the experience of the summer. And I ran into the news editor, Janet Mort, at the time in the corridor upstairs. And she looked at me, and I remember it very well because I've written it because it's going to be in the book. She said, what's wrong with you? I said, well, I don't have a job. But I thought you were coming back home to sports. That's Janet Mort's way of speaking, you know. I said, no, Eddie's coming home, so. She said, really? Come and see me tomorrow morning.
Wow.
Come and see me tomorrow morning. And I went home, looked forward to tomorrow morning, couldn't sleep. And then she interviewed me for about 5-7 minutes. We just chatted. And she said, well, you have a decision to make. I'm going to offer you a job, but you have to decide whether you're going to be a damn good journalist or a damn good politician. Go home and think about it.
Okay, damn good politician because what?
I was very active in the People's National Party.
Which didn't matter for sports.
It didn't matter for sports, but for news, it would.
Yes.
Right? So I went home, as usual, shared it with my mom and my siblings, and all circumstances made the decision very easy. I was by then the main breadwinner of the family, and I decided that I'm going to give up the politics and go do journalism.
Hold that thought for me. We're talking to Cliff Hughes as we continue our Radio Jamaica's 70 series of interviews. And remember, you can WhatsApp us. It's 553-5908, 553-5908. You can tweet me at DJ Miller JA. We'll be back with Cliff right after the break.